It was a high-stakes day in Europe. Poland called its NATO allies for urgent talks. And that's after alleging that Russian drones violated Polish airspace. That's during attacks by Russia on Ukraine. The Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk warned the situation is perhaps edging dangerously close to an open conflict. He said that Poland's airspace was breached 19 times. 3 drones were shot down, and NATO allies scrambled jets. Across Europe, leaders are up in arms, hurling accusations at Moscow for provoking conflict. So much so that Poland announced that it is invoking Article 4 of the NATO treaty, which calls for urgent talks within the bloc. So, what does Russia have to say about all of this, about the accusations leveled by Poland? It has rubbished all allegations. Russia has accused Poland of spreading myths. Russia has said that Warsaw has not given any evidence backing its claims. So, what really happened? Who is lying and who is telling the truth? Was this perhaps a deliberate provocation by Russia, or a Russian misstep? Or perhaps is NATO overreacting at all of this? Here is the latest as to what exactly happened. Russia's defense ministry says it struck Ukraine and that no targets in Poland were planned. Moscow asserted what it has been saying throughout the day, that its drones have a range of 700 kilometers, and I quote Moscow here, "These concrete facts fully debunk the myths once again being spread by Poland to further escalate the Ukraine crisis," unquote. Well, early in the day, footage posted by local media showed firefighters and police in the village of WION in eastern Poland. They were seen inspecting a house that you see on your screens right now, with its roof ripped open and debris scattered from what seemed to be a drone strike. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk called the situation serious and said Poland should prepare for such scenarios.
We are most likely dealing with a large-scale provocation, but at the same time, we are in consultation with our allies. I am in constant contact with the NATO Secretary-General. This is so that in the coming hours and days and in the future, we can respond to this type of threat as effectively as we did tonight.
Poland said it shot down Russian drones that entered its airspace that violated Polish airspace. That's when Russia launched its attack on Ukraine. Warsaw called it an act of aggression. In yet another region, the Polish police found a damaged drone in Czosnowka, and the district prosecutor's office discovered components near Chesenki. Now, Russian drones and missiles have reportedly entered NATO airspace before in the nearly 4 years of Ukraine war. But this is the first time that a NATO member has shot them down. Well, NATO chief Mark Rutte praised the alliance's air defenses, calling Moscow's actions reckless. Not just him. EU foreign policy chief has warned that Europe's response has not been strong enough all this while. The UK said that it is mulling options to strengthen NATO's air defense over Poland.
As your NATO ally, we will support you, our Polish friends. As your NATO ally, we will play our part to help secure the safety of your people. And following our discussions today, I've asked our UK armed forces to look at options to bolster NATO's air defence over Poland.
And Germany, it called that the drone incursion into Poland was deliberate. It was purposeful by Russia. Take a listen.
As I just said in the German parliament, there is no evidence whatsoever that this amount of drones flew over this route over Poland, Polish territory, by accident. In any case, there is no need to fly over this route between Belarus and Ukraine. This means that it can be assumed that this was a deliberate action.
Russia's top diplomat in Poland, Andrzej Ordash, was summoned to Warsaw's foreign ministry on Wednesday. So, across the Atlantic, what's happening? Still silence from the White House, but on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are raising the alarm. Democrat Senator Dick Durbin warned that all these violations are a fair warning and a direct test of NATO's resolve to defend Poland and the Baltics. And Republican Joe Wilson went a little further ahead, calling it an act of war. He urged sanctions to bankrupt Putin's war machine and demanded more arms for Ukraine to strike back. Remember, Poland is a major backer of Ukraine, hosting more than 1 million refugees and also serving as a critical transit point for not just Western aid, but also weapons. Now, the alleged intrusion of Russian drones into Polish airspace is now being seen as one of the most serious tests of NATO's readiness in years. The entire incident has Europe still reeling. For now, NATO can say that its response was swift, but doubts remain. Can Europe afford to shoot million-dollar missiles or stealth fighter jets each time a drone which is worth a fraction of that enters their airspace, when perhaps there's an active war in their own backyard? Experts warn NATO's strategy still lags behind Russia's growing drone and missile power. So, if it wants war, the question is, can it afford it? Poland may be the front line, but Putin, the Russian president, is testing the entire alliance. And that's the challenge European members of NATO will have to deal with. Well, even as Russia denies the drone attack, experts say that the incident could be a way of Moscow sending a clear message to the European capitals. Don't engage in supporting Ukraine. Take a look.
Russia is using this to signal that it does not want war, but it's trying to do so from a position of strength by warning NATO countries that war is a strong possibility if they provide troops to Ukraine. This is what has been under discussion in the West in recent weeks, the possibility that should there be a peace agreement, that NATO troops will become peacekeepers in Ukraine. And this is something Russia does not want and does not want to provoke war with NATO. So they are trying to warn off NATO members at this point to avoid sending their troops to Ukraine with the message that this could lead to war.